Hello and welcome to another episode of Double Barrel Gaming. I'm your host, MrBooMStickXL, and on today's episode, I want to discuss the biased media in 2017 and how it potentially hurt the Xbox brand. One of the things that aggravates me within the social media space is when you challenge an article or video by a popular gaming media establishment, you are immediately identified as a corporate slave or fanboy for said company. I've said it publicly on numerous podcasts that I proudly support all three consoles, but I am an Xbox gamer first and foremost. There is nothing wrong with having a preference, regardless of what some people on social media tell you. I truly believe that if the gaming media reported on all three consoles equally and called them out when it was necessary, there wouldn't be such a blatant media bias stigma that tops the conversation on almost every podcast. Unfortunately for Xbox and its fans, that wasn't the case in 2017, which is why I'm doing this video today. I don't think the countless YouTubers doing gaming journalism on a daily basis are making up the media bias theory. If you're one of these people who are on Twitter calling for this to stop, you are either blind to what is happening or you don't want to see the truth, and that's perfectly fine. You are, of course, entitled to your opinion. In this video, I've pulled some of 2017's most controversial headlines. The easiest way I could describe the gaming companies and their fans is comparing them to your favorite sports team. Let me explain. Let's say the media wrote a biased story about your favorite team or its players. The everyday fan of that team would immediately defend it by going to social media or calling into their local sports radio show to complain. Very similar to someone posting on Twitter or commenting on a podcast's live chat, this would be considered normal behavior for a fan. The question that I have for everyone is, why is it any different for fans of the Xbox brand? It seems that there's a serious double standard at play here. What's frustrating is even when Microsoft gets it right, the media has been relentless in their attacks on the brand and its millions of fans. The goalposts are constantly being moved to better suit the narrative that's being used by the media. It appears what works for Sony doesn't work for Microsoft. For clarity, I'm going to read some of 2017's top written articles from the entire media spectrum that proves they are pushing a negative narrative on the Xbox brand. All of these are real headlines with actual quotes from the named journalists. Ryan McCaffrey from IGN stated on the post-E3 show that Xbox gamers who accept the $4.99 price tag are corporate slaves. Way to go, Ryan. He continues with, he's not sure who the Xbox One X is for. Another complaint from Ryan was that he didn't own a 4K TV, even though he does this for a living. It's pretty ridiculous to me considering that he's a high-caliber journalist for IGN. How does someone in his position not own a 4K TV considering all he does is play and review games for a living? It doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. I'm going to be reading headlines from the media's biggest sites. You tell me if there's not an agenda being pushed here. Here's a Kotaku headline by Jason Schreier. The Xbox One X is a tough sell. Here's a Polygon article by Ben Kuchera. The Xbox One X has a tragic flaw, that tiny hard drive, followed by 4K systems are fueled by data, and data takes up space. What a revelation. Thanks, Ben. Here's another IGN classic. Microsoft's free copy of PUBG is expensive by Max Scoville on IGN's Daily Fix. Here's an Engadget article by Timothy J. Sapala. Xbox's lack of compelling games won't be fixed next year. Here's another article by Engadget by Devendra Hardwar titled, The Xbox One X will be great next year. I'm confused. Which is it? They're not going to have games, or they are going to have games? Here's a GameSpot headline by Oscar Deus. The Xbox has the power, but lacks the games to be a worthwhile purchase. Here's one by Forbes. By Paul Tassi. I bought an Xbox One X, but I'm not sure why anyone else would. Here are two more articles by Forbes. The first one by John Archer, titled, The Xbox One X's 4K Blu-ray player is a disaster. And here's the second by Mark Vina. Mind you, this is a review of the Xbox One X. The power blew me away, but not a must-have upgrade. Here's a headline from The Verge by Sam Byford. The Xbox One X is probably not for you, unless of course you have a really big 4K TV. Here's a headline from The Gaming Bolt by Paramath. The Xbox One X's biggest advantage is its biggest problem. Last but certainly not least is a headline from the Business Insider by Ben Gilbert. Why does the Xbox One X cost $500? I don't know, Mr. Gilbert, maybe because it's the world's most powerful console. These are just a fraction of the negative articles printed in 2017. What's puzzling is that the negative articles seem to ramp up right before the launch of the Xbox One X in November, and continue through the remainder of the year. No agenda, huh? There are many gaming media sites that disappointed me in 2017, but none more than IGN. It used to be my go-to gaming site. What shocked me is that I held IGN to a very high standard of journalistic integrity, and they seem to have changed right before my eyes. I could easily list another 20 articles, but I thought it would be a moot point. The reason why I chose these articles and called out these journalists by name wasn't to make trouble. It was to simply back up my personal claims should anyone want to fact check what I'm saying on this video. Let's be clear, I'm not a gaming journalist, but I stand on a high moral ground of journalistic objectivity. When I'm making these videos for YouTube, I do actual research to make sure that what I'm talking about is correct. That, my friend, is called responsible journalism, something that most of today's media sites have moved away from. Personal opinions are perfectly acceptable, and these are mine. With that said, though, I still need to be held accountable for what I'm saying on this video. There are many fantastic reasons to get into the gaming journalism field. Should you go down this path, please remember what they teach you in school. Integrity is still important in 2018, regardless of how many clicks an article gets. Now for today's Community Spotlight, and I'm going to be talking about a man that served his country with honor and distinction, and he is Predator H2O. I've had the extreme pleasure of getting to know Predator H2O while being on multiple episodes of the Crossfire podcast with him. Since then, I've gotten to know him and can confidently call him my friend. Predator H2O has two really awesome gaming moments that he wants everyone to know about. The first is when he introduced his children to the wonderful world of gaming. There's nothing like seeing your kids playing the games you used to play and witness the wonder in their eyes. It's magical to behold. The second one is a big one and something he'll never forget. While playing Ghost Recon and the only one left on his team, Predator H2O single-handedly owned an entire clan with just a silenced MP5. That, of course, is where he got his nickname, Predator. His favorite gaming franchise of all time, and this shouldn't come off as a surprise, is Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon. If you already follow Predator H2O, you'll know that he's addicted to PUBG, so when he heard that the PUBG-type mode was coming to Ghost Recon Wildlands in mid-2018, he was stoked, to say the least. When I asked him what company he thought could do better in 2018, he simply responded, Steam. According to Predator H2O, Steam has forgotten they could make video games and wants that to happen sooner than later. Predator H2O is on the next podcast every Saturday night on YouTube, but in his spare time, when he's not sniping you from across the map in PUBG and getting that chicken dinner, he's on these other podcasts, and they are the Shop Podcast, the Crossfire Podcast, and the Xbox After Party Podcast. Predator H2O is an incredible member of the community as well as being an American hero. It is with great pleasure to highly recommend that you follow him on Twitter and check out his YouTube channel. I will provide links to his information in the show notes below. Thanks again for checking out today's video. If you enjoyed the content, please consider hitting that like button and subscribing to the channel. Have an awesome day.